Okay, so one of the most important things, obviously, for a knife of this size that's going to be used potentially as a camp knife is how well it does with food prep. So I'm not sure you can get this in video screen here, but I'm going to basically see how it does. It is pretty thick behind the edge. The tip is not too bad. I'm just kind of feeling it out here right now. The handle is actually really good for it. It gives a good grip. It's quite comfortable and natural feeling. All my knives that are of this size and category of knife, I always test to see how well they do in the food prep side of things, because I think that's really important. You know, if you're gonna have a knife like this and you're gonna take it with you camping or hunting or anything like that, you know, you want to know for sure that it's going to be capable of performing these kind of tasks. So I am noticing that it is pretty chunky behind the edge when it comes to cutting this, but it's not bad. I'm going to do an onion here shortly. I won't bore everybody with tons of vegetable cutting, because I mean this is pretty crude. I've got some soup bones I got to carve the meat off of. That'll maybe be a better test of just how functional the knife is, and also having a nice clip point like that probably will do quite well. And I would expect that it's going to perform better than my taupe, or the Bark River taupe Recon, which is one of my favorite knives, like I said in every video I've ever talked about it in. But it's got a much broader tip on it, so it's not going to be as well suited to fine work. So taking my fingers off, I'll go through this, and then I will try cutting up an onion here and see how that works. Okay, so we've got an onion here. This is the real test. This is always the type of vegetable that I find is a really good indicator as far as how well it's going to work as a food prep knife. I'm not a chef, so don't judge me. I just like knives. These onions are not in the best of shape, but they will still work. They all seem to be frozen or something. Okay, so yeah, it's pretty thick behind the edge. There's no question about it. It's not bad, but it's not anywhere near as slicey as some of my other knives. Like that Bravo Taupe Recon is definitely thinner and more slicey. Be interesting to get this thing out and see how it does with chopping, because that Taupe Recon there, the Bravo Taupe Recon, it's a mouthful. It's the one that Bark River made in collaboration with Dan Taupe. That thing is an absolute monster when it comes to chopping it. Like, it hits way above its weight. So I hope this one does as well. So we'll see. So far, so good. I mean, it's not bad. It's not as good as some of my other knives just because it is so thick, but it definitely works. Scales here. See how that works. It's still hot, so I want to cut my finger off, but dogs will like chewing on these. And this is where that finer tip on this thing will be better than, say, that Bark River Taupe Recon. I'm gonna have to eat some of this. It's good. But that fine clip point is really, really nice for this kind of stuff for sure. But I'm burning my fingers. I didn't let this cool down enough. I'm gonna get a fork and I'm gonna pull this all off, but definitely does a good job. Fine point on it. That part I do like a lot. So it's kind of a trade-off, I guess you could say, between slicing ability and how much control you have with the tip of that blade. So it's definitely superior to that Park River knife I'm talking about. But yeah, this is definitely tender enough I can do it with a fork. But anyways, yeah, I just wanted to give you an indication of how well that worked for getting in there. It does work well. So I got fussy kids in the background there. So, well, I'm not gonna bore you with too much here. I just wanted to do a quick little test of how well it works in this capacity. So not too bad. I don't even know if I want to get that all off with a fork or anything like that. I might just want to chew on it. It's pretty tasty looking. It is tasty. Mm. You know what I might do? Let's see if we can cut this thing in half. Give it a good whack. That's a hard bone. No edge damage. I'm not going to do it too much in the kitchen here, but yeah, so overall it does work. It's pretty thick for cutting up veggies, but it does work. We'll try a potato next and see how that works. All right, so this is some leftover roast I'm gonna throw in our stew or soup or whatever you want to call it. It's just something I'm goofing around with. I'm not a cook. I just make what I think tastes good. Yeah, it's pretty thick behind the edge. There's no question about it. But it does work. It's not as well as a thinner knife. I'm going to do this in a way that can be captured in video. That top edge is actually sharp, so I'm going to be careful. That's the other thing. You can't really push down on that swedge because it is almost sharpened. Like, it digs into my fingernail. So definitely got to be careful there. If you were to push on that, especially with wet hands, you're going to cut yourself without a doubt. But it's working. Definitely got better knives as far as this stuff goes. So from that perspective, it's not as good as I'd like, but I also kind of expected as much. So the knife, I forgot to show the sharpness of it when I first, well, before I did anything with it. And it was sharp. It wasn't as sharp as a lot of my other cold steel knives that I've bought, but it was sharp. It was definitely no real complaints. I mean, I maybe would have liked it to be a bit sharper. That could be, have a lot to do with the fact that it is pretty thick behind the edge, which I haven't measured yet. But so yeah, I'll throw this in the pot, and yeah, another onion. It definitely does not cut the onions that well. The other thing I like about cutting onions is it gives me a pretty good indication of what kind of stain resistance I'll see in use. These onions will definitely cause a bit of a patina on these. Well, not necessarily 3V. Most of my 3V knives it doesn't. any carbon steel blades. It will patina relatively quickly. I got a potato here. These ones might be a little green. Yeah, they're pretty green. I'll have to peel them, but give me an indication of just how, oh yeah, so that tells you really, like I'm leaning out to it, like on the edge here. It is thick behind the edge, there's no question. So, but the spine is super sharp. Just not really well suited for kitchen prep. There's no question. It's a bit of a brute of a knife that is very thick behind the edge. That's also thick stock. Got a red onion here. That will definitely stain this blade some, I would think. Doesn't do too bad for onions. The handle is actually really comfortable for this. That part is pretty good. But it's pretty thick. Splits veggies more so than it does slice them. Well, I think that kind of gives you a rough idea as far as the kitchen food prep potential for this knife. It's not really that good, but it will work. So once I'm finished everything here, I'll clean the blade up and then let it sit for a little bit, see if it takes any kind of a patina stain from use here, which I would expect that it will. Well, definitely no real staining. I mean, there's just the slightest little bit of patina that formed, so it's obviously been heat treated with a protocol that leaves a little more free chromium there. I've got other 3V blades that definitely patina and stain a little more readily, and from what I remember, what I've read is that there's a different heat treat protocol that they use called a delta heat treat protocol, where the tempering process, they use a really high temp tempering protocol or whatever you want to call it. Instead of using a low temperature to temper the blades, they use a high temperature in like the 750 or 800 degrees, and that can definitely have some impacts on just stain resistance and stuff. I think I can't remember which one's which, but one of them obviously offers a little bit better performance. So that could be why some of my blades are a little more stain resistant than the others, and that this one seems to be quite stain resistant. And you see little bit of a staining there. You hear my dog chewing the soup bone. Holy smokes, I think he's eating the whole darn thing there. I have to take it away from him. But anyways, yeah, if you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed, I appreciate it if you know, you'd subscribe to my channel if you like these videos. And yeah, thanks for watching.